Reading from the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, um, Canto, Volume 2, Chapter 4, Text 10 to 11. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tāvat pārṣadair etya vaikuṇṭhaṁ netum ātmanaḥ. Yānam āropitaḥ sadyo vyutthāyācālayaṁ dṛśau sarvam anyādṛśaṁ dṛṣṭvā vismitaḥ svasthatāṁ gataḥ pārṣve paśyaṁ purā dṛṣṭāṁ evātma-priyaṁ-karān. At that moment, the associates of the Lord arrived in an airplane to take me to Vaikuṇṭha. They at once put me on that plane and carried me away, and when I opened my eyes, I saw that everything was different. Shocked, I returned to full consciousness and saw them beside me, the same benefactors I had met before. Purport. Just as Gopkumar's pure love reached its peak, the messengers of Vaikuṇṭha came to bring him to the Lord's kingdom. They took Gopkumar unconscious onto their Vaikuṇṭha vehicle, and while in flight, he woke up. Opening his eyes and looking around, he was astonished to find himself in unfamiliar surroundings. He was certainly no longer in Vajrabhumi. The Vaikuṇṭha Dutas, Gopkumar's instructors, had previously invoked in him the desire to see Vaikuṇṭha and had taught him the specific method of approaching Vaikuṇṭha. Now, by carrying him there, they were personally awarding him the success of his endeavors. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksuramulatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're on Gopkumar's journey. We spent a lot of time in Mahakalapur, where the Vaikuṇṭha Dutas were preaching to him. And he became attracted to them. They're so attractive. Even Lord Shiva was attracted to them. And he had a desire then to go to Vaikuṇṭha because he was trying to find the exact form, place, and mood of service that corresponds to his eternal identity in Goloka as his mantra was maturing. And then at one time they told him, if you really want to achieve perfection, go to Vrindavan and chant Nam Sankirtan. And then this whole exposition on Nam Sankirtan, very beautiful, was presented. So he went there, and it was good advice because he met his guru again. Before that, he was wandering in Braj, and of course, the real thing in Braj are the people there who are advanced in bhakti. As one of my friends said, we don't go to Vrindavan because we can see Vrindavan. We can appreciate Vrindavan. We go there because there are people who are there that can. And he heard the Bhagavatam and increasing his desire, and his guru comes and fully enlightens him, and he becomes overwhelmed. Remember, he's telling this to the mature Brahmin. He's telling his own journey. He becomes completely overwhelmed. Prema vivabala. Completely overwhelmed. And then those same people that were instructing him, just at the point where in his mind, he thought he saw Krishna standing before him. And he fainted and he fell to the ground. And then the Vaikuṇṭha Vasis, dutas, Vasi means residents, duta means servants. Um, just as he reached the peak of his pure love, they came. And he was unconscious, and they took him in this vehicle. And when he woke up, he opens his eyes, and he wasn't in Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. They had invoked this desire into him and taught him this specific method to achieve it. And they were awarding him the success of his endeavors. Now, I have a question that's still unanswered. When he's in the level of prema bhakti in Braja, why are these compassionate people taking him to Vaikuṇṭha? Even that's a step down. Of course, he's not in the spiritual world per se. Oh, he's in Gokula, Vrindavan. He's not in Goloka Vrindavan, but we don't see any difference to that. And prema pumartha mahan. The thing that has the greatest value is prema. The thing that has the greatest value is prema. So actually, I have this one, I guess it's an AI. It's called Beyond Hallucinations. It's with Prabhupada's books and Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, something like that, because AI hasn't yet been educated. And I mean, it was pretty good. I asked, and they gave some answers, but I still wasn't satisfied. Well, they said, of course, prema has different levels. And we know why Gop Kumar is ascending. Part of the ascending process is discovering what is not the ascending process. Well, he's looking for what fills his heart. And anybody on a spiritual journey, they don't stop, or they shouldn't stop, even coming to a particular path, until you have realization that this is really what you're looking for and you feel satisfied. There's something in a spiritual path of ascending through different levels of the material planets, different levels of um, the elevated spiritual planets, and seeing that although this is representing God and it's your Lord, it's not the full manifestation of your Lord, and therefore you don't stop and you keep on going. But I asked further questions and the answer was, well, we don't have an answer. So I'm just going to keep that in the mind and try to really figure this out more deeply. But he's continuing that same journey which he was on, which is to move progressively through higher and higher regions to clearly understand um, what is the external manifestation of his heart's desire and where it's not. Now, he's on a different level now because he's with the Vaikuṇṭha Vasis, and he has some level of prema. So he's not exactly now confined to the laws of this world. I think this is a point that I'm harping on very often now, and I wrote about it. I forgot which one, but um, you're never going to get a exactly logical answer for what's the nature of the ultimate reality in turn, because it's not going to conform to the laws of material nature and how they operate, which is the way our logic is based on that. There's gravity. You drop your hand, it falls. And every time it falls. So if someone says, I've dropped this, what happened to it? It falls. Then logically it falls, but in the spiritual world it can go anywhere because it's not under those laws. And even time and space can't confine God. So how do we wrap our minds around that? So he's coming into that same realm where he's not confined in the same way. Mahatejasvin nam tejo musnato nupamambaram vimanam yogamarudam anirupyam sarupavat. The plane upon which they rode was wonderful, incomparable, indescribably beautiful, excelling in brilliance, the most powerful luminary. So this is another theme, because it's Goloka Mahatmyam. It's highlighting the glories of Goloka. And you can't intellectually conceive it, the greatness of it. How can you describe adequately the glory of God, the greatness of God, the power of God? And I give the example that God would not be God if he didn't have all happiness, and he wouldn't be God if that happiness couldn't increase. So both they're existing in an eternal reality. The infinite increase of God's happiness exists in the ultimate reality, and an expansion of it. So here it's describing that it's Maha Tejas Vinam. Tejas, luminaries, Maha luminaries. Tejas Vinam Teja. It was so the most powerful, excelling, Mushnatak, excelling, Mahatejas Vinam Teja, excelling, and Anupamam Varam Vimam, his plane, which he rode, excelling in brilliance, the most powerful luminaries. And it's Sarupvat. Its beauty is anirupyam. It's incomparable beauty. Incomparable and indescribable. So this is something, and because what it wants to show is what is this Goloka who's much higher. And we'll always get this. This is a million times better than this. This is a million times better than this. This is a million times. And it's nothing compared to the spiritual world. Srila Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu describes that you can't even conceive in terms of material happiness what is realizing Brahman. Hari Parshad described it in a very interesting way. If you ever have an aesthetic experience by poetry or drama or something, music, and you go, wow, it's an eternal wow. It's an eternal wow. And if you multiply that, Rupa Goswami, the number he gives by infinity, it will not equal a drop of the happiness of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And why not if there's God? Purport, the airplane for Vaikuṇṭha glowed more brilliantly than the sun, and the material airplanes also transport the demigods through outer space. But those material airplanes are nothing like the one Gop Kumar and his escorts were riding. So he's comparing it to the demigods. They're in the material world, and they have their airplanes, and they're wonderful, but they're nothing. So words do not describe how eloquently it was built, since it was manifest from the pure substance of the spiritual world. One second. Okay, sometimes I have sneezing fits. I hope it's ended. Sambramat pranamantam mam ashlishya vasayam muhu aichan svasadrisham rupam datum yukti satenate. As I reverently offered obeisances, those associates of the Lord embraced me and reassured me again and again, putting forward hundreds of arguments they wish to give me a bodily form like theirs. The associates of Narayan assured Gopkumar that he shouldn't be so surprised that they're treating him this way. They were his friends, and they'll bring him to Vaikuṇṭha. And then they try to convince him with so many arguments, have a body like ours, sarupya mukti, because his human-like form, you couldn't enjoy the service in Vaikuṇṭha to that level. And this is just an example of the nature of bhakti. That one even rejects the 5 types of liberation. Suyuja mukti, merging, sarupya mukti, having a form like the Lord, living on the same planet, etc. But he refuses it because this is so inherent to his nature, not just external nature. We're attached to so many things in terms of our appearance and externals. But this is congruent. This is one with his soul, practically. He's a Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, and he's not. And also, his guru told him that you'll never change your dress, no matter where you are. So, from that standpoint, from the guru's blessings, and his own nature. Okay. Okay. Hirashvikritya tu swayam govardhana bhuvam vapu tesham prabhavatastadrik gunarup ya ya gunarupad yalambayam. But I refuse their offer, and instead, by their influence, my own body, born in Govardhan, assumed qualities and beauty like theirs. Purport: Gopkumar did not want to accept Sarupya Mukti. The form of liberation in one's body is indistinguishable from the form that of Lord Narayan. There's a certain service of being in God's entourage. And you look like him. And it's part of a service to be in God's entourage. And I'll just joke, you're not wearing shmatas and being in God's entourage. That's kind of a service. Even if I do a program in the city and there's outside people coming, it would be a service for my students to look presentable because it reflects on the person you're serving. He was satisfied with the body of a resident of Govardhan. Nonetheless, his host blessed his body with qualities like theirs, making it eternal, purely spiritual, and effulgent. In addition, Gopkumar gained the mystic powers to do whatever he might want, powers that all the residents of Vaikuṇṭha naturally possess. So imagine Vaikuṇṭha, you're free from this material world and the modes of nature. And God empowers you in the most wonderful ways to serve him. Sometimes enjoyment is a service. Just like if you're honoring someone and you go to a feast, enjoying the food is part of the glorification. So there's this element there of joy. Pramananda yuktena durvitarkena vartmana. Jagad vilakshane naham vaikuṇṭhaṁ taiḥ brajam. In their company, I traveled along the path to Vaikuṇṭha, a path inconceivable, supremely blissful, and distinct from everything in this world. I think I remember this part, but I studied with Dhanurdhara Swami. He gets to pass everything that he's experienced before, but from this spiritual lane that's not confined to the modes of material nature. So it's a path that's also durvi tarkena. Tarka means logic. Durvi, bad, inconceivable logic. It's endowed. And paramananda, inconceivable, supremely blissful, different from anything in this world. 16 and 17. Teshu lokeshva varaneshvapi sarvata dṛṣṭvā pilajayam pujetad adhikarabi lokapala dibist churdva mukai sanjali mastakai vegad ukship yamanabi pushpalajari vishtabi. My eyes fell upon all those worlds, cosmic regions, and coverings of the universe I had visited before. I felt ashamed. The residents and presiding rulers of those places were honoring me. Faces upraised, palms joined above their head. They vigorously showered flowers, parched rice, and other auspicious offerings toward. So somehow or other, the universe is celebrating one who is leaving it. And we may celebrate that too when a great Vaishnava leaves. I remember I was in the room when Srila Prabhupada passed away. And, you can relate the experiences to something else. So I kind of related it to this movie where, I don't even remember where it was, but someone's soul was going to heaven. And then the music was, I don't know, was it Handel's Messiah or something? Dun, 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 dun. Glory, so glorious. I felt in the room, honestly, that there was no ceiling. So this journey back is a very, very glorious thing. So he previously he traveled to this Mahakalapur, which he just left, by passing through the sphere of the sun, and that was amazing. But this is even more amazing, and this is a path that pure devotees traverse. Basically, sometimes here, I don't call it, I'm summarizing purports, but I want to read the whole thing. But the path of pure devotees, when they leave this material world for spiritual, so pure devotees are leaving, and everyone. And this road is nothing like any road in the world. It's blissful, and it's like the super highway to Vaikuṇṭha, which is beyond this Mahakalapur, where he got a glimpse of Krishna. And it says that those worlds which Gop Kumar reached with such great labor, because he's no longer under the jurisdiction of the material modes of nature. He's passing them. And he again went through all the eight levels. Remember, he went through the 8 levels of the universe, and in every layer of the universe, the embodiment of that element, earth, fragrance, water, taste, he's tempted. Do you want to stay in the world and enjoy? Or do you want to go to beyond something that? And you really have to have faith for that. We can see our faith is still immature, because even if we theoretically understand that the goal is Vrindavan and the goal is Krishna, our faith is for other things, some position, or even for liberation. Let me just get rid of all this anxiety. So now he has this higher, more advanced realization, and he can actually see that this world liberation has no value, and he's ashamed. And what is he ashamed? He's ashamed at the material attractions he had once found of interest. This is part of Panch Samskar for initiation. The first thing is tapa, remorse for the material attractions one once had interest for, that are separate from God, because we also have material attractions that are in the service of God, yukta vairagya. And he was passing, it said he had to tolerate all the greetings. Everybody's cheering him. This realm works on another dimension. Even a particular soul can have many, many, many different bodies separate and still be one person. Not just the expansion of one, but many, many bodies and still be one person. And people are where they want, just like at the Kali Lila. From all the planets, millions and millions of years away, when Krishna was dancing on Kaliya, they were there. And Prabhupada said this, I explained before, that mystic power, and they have all mystic powers. You want to go to Kumbh Mela, you enter into one river and you get out by the Triveni. Taistu Yamano Jaya Shabda Purvikam Pranam Yamanas Chapade Pade Chalam Tu Cham Paro Mukti Padam Chalochayam Lochayam Urdhvam Tatasri Shivaloka Abrajam. Praised by the cries of victory, and offered obeisance at every step I moved on. And before my eyes, I saw the abode of liberation, how trifling it was. And traveling upwards from there, I came to the world of Lord Shiva. So Shiva Loka is right beyond the abode of liberation. And look at the Vaishnavas. They're so happy with someone's success. They want to worship. They want to worship someone's step. Jai Shabda Purvikam, with the sound of Shabda Jai, Stu Yamana, praised by everyone, and Pranam Yamana, and offered obeisances, Pade Pade, at every step. And then what he saw, Tucham, insignificant. Mukti Padam, the abode of Mukti. And this is what Vaishnavism is at a certain level. The greatest thing which is not connected from Krishna has no value. Tyaktva turnamashesha mandalapati shrenim sadatu chavat. Tyaktva turnam ashesha mandala shrenim. So that tuchava, like nothing. Saman shivam tachamuda pranamya tenandara prema sad ukti jalai anandito vakya manodarapa mahatmalam tamagam vaikuṇṭhaṁ. There I bowed down to Lord Shiva and Uma with great pleasure, and he made me feel blissful with a flood of gracious words, filled with love and respect. And then I went on to that place whose garland of glories cannot be touched by the mind, Vaikuṇṭha, whose Mahatya Malam, the mala of glories, Durapa, Vakyamana, by the words of the mind, it cannot be touched. I went to that place. And just see, Lord Shiva, Vaishnavam Yata Shambhu, the greatest Vaishnava, offering respects. Manena, Madanena, the fourfold process of achieving prema. Humility, tolerance, respect, and chanting always. Pārṣadair idam yuktoham tvam tishte hashanam bahi vigyapya prabhum asmabi purim yavat pravekshase. The associates of the Lord told me, "You please wait here for a moment outside. We should take permission from our Lord before bringing you into the city." Now his mind is blown because he sees these people. He sees someone flying in that's indescribable, incomparable bliss, beauty. And he's thinking this must be God, but it's not God. It's just the servants of God that were on their mission. Again, the point being, so what is God like? And we think we can wrap it around our minds. No. We have conceptions that give us a framework to wrap our minds around something, which tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yānam. One who worships me is faith, devotion. I give them the knowledge which they come back. The Vaikuṇṭha do is they ask Gopkumar to stay behind in the gateway while they're inside. Vaikuṇṭha to secure permission for his entrance. This is the standard etiquette for introducing someone to the supreme opulence of Vaikuṇṭha. Specific permission should be obtained for him either from Lord Vaikuṇṭhanath directly or from a proper deputized authority. Atarishta Shritascharya Samudromi Param Param Bhagavad Bhakti Diptabhyam Netrabhyam Ganastira. Stay calm and with your eyes illumined by devotion for the Lord, count the waves of the vast ocean of wonders that flow here, each after the next, wonders you have never seen or heard before. So these are the people that are escorting him to Vaikuṇṭha, and they say, stay calm, because you're going to see Ascharya Samudram. You're going to see waves of the ocean of wonders, Ashruta, never heard before. And parampara, an endless parampara sequence of an ocean of wonders you never heard before. Stay calm. Stay calm and just with your two eyes, just count those wonders. Stay calm and just count those wonders. Gopkumar's escorts could see he was feeling distress from being kept apart from the Lord. So they gave him this lighthearted advice to keep his mind calm and himself busy. Just count the wonders. And from the things he would say in his wait in the Gopura, in the gateway, he'll learn something about the unique glories of the place he's about to enter. And when you see this, it'll strengthen your eagerness to have the Lord's darshan. And in one sense, that's the price. It's not a material thing, entering into the Lord's abode. It's not a material thing. And they say he'll learn about the methods of worshiping the Lord in awe and reverence and make him appreciate this. Thus, his wait, very intelligent, your wait will be productive. Gopkumar's hosts were joking when they told him to count the wonderful things he would see, a task no easier than counting the waves in the ocean. How will my eyes have the power to do this? Gopkumar might ask. Anticipating this question, the Vaikuṇṭha messengers told him that his eyes would be illumined by Bhagavad Bhakti. Okay, we'll do one more verse today. Sri Gopkumar Uvacha Teshu Kanta Pravishteshu Dvara Pranti Bahistata Apasyame Kamayantam Pravishantam Chatam Parim. Sri Gopkumar said, they went in, and I stood outside the pavilion of the entrance gate. I thus beheld someone coming and entering that great city. Brahmanda Shatabhutyadya Sadyanarudam Adubitatai Gita Mudavishtam Kantayai Sadyasam Prabho. He rode on a transcendent vehicle endowed with the opulence of hundreds of universes. Music and other entertainment filled him with delight. He resembled the Supreme Lord in beauty. So it's going to be revealed. These are just the residents there who have gone out to do different duties and coming back to the Lord's abode. The person Gopur saw was absorbed in ecstasy. He was surrounded by an entourage like the Supreme Lord and riches greater than 100 million hundreds of universes. He was dressed and ornamented like the Lord, and his companions were chanting his praises as if he were the Lord. One more. Tamadvasi harimnata bahiti muhar alapam namankaro pidayaham samgyaya nena varjita. I thought he was Hari and cried out again and again, "O Lord, protect me," and bowed down to him. But he was covered both ears and gestured for me to stop. Because he was shocked, because he's just the Lord's servant. He said no. And okay, this is just Vaishnav. And it's so interesting. The Vaishnav, the real Vaishnav, his faith is in feeling love. That's his faith, in bhakti, in feeling love. Really his faith, really the thing that one enjoys the most, really one's objective, really one's goal. And sitting on the seat and being glorified is really something that he does not enjoy. I have my vyasa-puja coming up, I think September 12th, and I'm trying to, because there's so many people, even some very good friends of mine are visiting from India. They'll be in Canada, and they're coming down for it. So, and they're very learned people too. So I'm just trying to figure out, these kind of lectures. It's not because I already give these lectures on scripture that I speak contiguously. So I've thought, why don't I compose questions? And I don't know how many of you would understand this. Then I thought I'd feel like Fielding Mellish, 1971, Bananas, movie by Woody Allen. And somehow or other, to impress his new age girlfriend, he becomes an activist and gets caught up in this revolution and somehow winds up as the head of this banana republic. Then I think he's captured and bringing to America, and they put him on stand. So he's like his own lawyer. So he questions the stand and then runs around and sits in the box, and then it's hilarious, and then runs around. So I thought I could kind of do that, ask myself questions, but I won't make it so dramatic. But the first one I would ask is about all that pomp, sitting on that seat. How how is that Vaishnavism? And why are we having this? Okay, for today, I did a Ekadasi yesterday. Very easy for me. No responsibilities, etc. Wake up. It's a great day for me. Um, okay, Jamuna Jaya, you have some points that you appreciated here?
Hi, Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much for class. Yeah, there was a lot there today. On one hand, I was just appreciating the aspect of the eternal wow. That
I,
there's just
I thought
there's
it
no
was a
words. It
way,
really was.
yeah, I thought it was a way for us to,
Yeah, just I
when he
mean,
said that, I thought that's a way that you could understand impersonal Brahman, like that great feeling of the aesthetic. And actually, there is an aesthetic theory that's what aesthetic theory is supposed to do. It's supposed to give you a sense of
um,
liberation from the limited concept of I. Okay, what else? Oops.
yeah, um, but then I also, on sort of on the other, I also love that the journey back is a glorious thing. I really love that. I heard someone say recently that everybody wants heaven, but they don't want to die to get there. I love that.
Say it
It's sort
again
of
slowly,
like
because
that the journey back is the glory. Okay.
okay, 1 second.
Um, someone,
You're a little bit broken up. I
someone
don't, is that
recently
you're a little
said,
bit
and
broken
I
up. So
loved it. Well, you said the journey back is a glorious thing. Be me.
say it again. I got my
The
hearing aids.
journey back is a glory. Okay. You said that the journey back is a glorious thing. And I
Yeah.
and I love that. And someone else said recently, everybody wants heaven, but nobody wants to die to get there. I just was making
Mm.
those correlations in my mind that nobody wants to
Wow.
take the
Nice.
path to get there. So those two things really came together for
Oh,
me today, Raj.
nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gail,
Hi,
Gail, you're on.
hi, Krishna Maharaj. Yeah, a few things if I have time. But one thing, when the Vishnu Dutas were taking him to Vaikuṇṭha, just like when he was being taken through the layers, the 7 layers of the universe, right? Where if you have to pass that test, do you want to enjoy here or not? So I was wondering if going to Vaikuṇṭha instead of directly to Vraja, if that was like a similar test. Did he want that kind of liberation or?
Yeah, it is a similar test.
Uh-huh.
Do you
Okay.
want this type of bhakti or that? Yeah, it's all it wants to show us that the Bhagavad Kripa Sar, the Goloka Mahatmya on this thing is Braja Bhakti, and one with that in his heart will only be satisfied when he has that level of service and identity. Yes.
Yeah. And to even to get to Vaikuṇṭha, he should have had to have changed his material body. He should have had to change it out, right? For a spiritual one. Otherwise, how could he have entered?
Well, somehow he was in prema, and prema cannot contain in a material body. So somehow his body was kind of already spiritualized somehow.
Yeah, that's what I was wanting to confirm, that he had to have, because
It had to be spiritualized to some. But again, when he went to Vaikuṇṭha, they gave him more ability to appreciate it, and they gave mystic powers and opulence, etc.
Oh, but wait now. So actually, I've heard that even I don't know, even a spiritualized material body is insufficient to go to the spiritual world. You have to have.
It says that prema cannot be contained within the material body. One could get to the stage of bhava, which is prem ankur, which is the sprout of prem.
Mhm.
You can get to that level, and then you have to go to where Krishna is performing his pastimes, and then you're held back because you're not pure enough when Krishna calls, and that separation somehow burns up whatever's left of the material consciousness. Yeah, something like that.
And when he saw the Vishnu Dutas, right?
I would call them Vaikuṇṭha Vasis. That's the better term. Okay.
Okay, Vaikuṇṭha Vasis.
Yeah.
When he saw them, I just want to confirm that he did think, just like he had thought so many other times in the past, that he had finally reached the Lord of his heart, right? Because they looked so.
But it turns out not to be the Lord of his heart.
But he realized that?
He will realize that.
Oh.
He will realize that, and he'll realize it every time that it is and it's not. And I made an analogy I think is perfect. A little boy is missing his father, and his father's the high court judge, and he gets excited seeing him, and it is his father, and his father manifests somewhat to the extent that he's a father,
Mm-hmm.
but not fully because of the demands of the environment of the court.
Yeah.
So he'll ultimately you'll be satisfied and not satisfied.
Yeah, but up to what we read just now, he feels like he's satisfied because he
He
doesn't.
always feels he's satisfied, just like
Yeah,
that child will feel like he's satisfied.
but it doesn't last.
It doesn't last because it's
Mhm.
not the full revelation of his relationship.
I just had one last thing, Mirage. When
Yeah.
you were saying, you quoted that Gita verse, and you were saying, Dadami Buddhi, and
Yeah.
and you say, we think that we can wrap our minds around, or we can, I don't know, wrap our minds around the spiritual world. Does that mean we can figure it out? What was that point you were making when you
What was that point?
yeah.
The point is just like Lord, I like that example of the prasadam. It's the camphor, it's the ghee, it's the sugar, it's all these things Lord Chaitanya said. But the taste is more than that. It's
Uh-huh.
inconceivable to that. So
Mm-hmm.
there's another level of perception, and that has to be given by God. So even in
Uh-huh.
terms of Krishna's form, etc., we have some realization it's Krishna's form, but the full revelation of, just like you can eat the food and, oh yes, this is sweet rice. This has this, but it's not that. I can't say it's a facsimile, or it's more like a person who's a stranger and he reveals more and more of himself. So we saw forms of the deities. We see pictures of Krishna. We have the holy name.
Mm-hmm.
And it is God. But the
Mm-hmm.
full revelation of God has to be manifest by God himself.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to head out. If anybody else would like to turn on their camera, I could say hello to you.
Good morning, Maharaj. This is Denny.
Always nice to see you, Denny.
Always nice to hear your classes. I appreciate them.
Okay, great.
Good to see you.
Gopi Gita, nice to see you again.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for class.
That's not Kali, is it?
It is.
Okay, you got your new apartment yet?
Yes, I did, but I am in the house still.
Okay. If you need help moving or anything, you can always call Bob. He would always be happy to help.
I think I will do it. Thank you,
Yeah,
Maharaj.
and you can, he'll always be happy to help. Okay?
Thank
Okay.
you.
And it's a good service. Okay, Lal.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for
Raj
class.
is slacking.
Slacking.
She's slacking. You gotta be at your game. Okay. Because it's the summer, she's much more busy. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Yudhisthira, Haribo. Nice to see you. Okay. Krishna-katha, I'll see you in 2 months. Haribo. Okay. Vishvata, Hare Krishna. Prabhu? I can't hear you. Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Where do I know you from?
We've never met, actually.
Okay.
I'm your insignificant god brother. I've recently discovered your podcast. This is my first time joining live.
Okay, welcome so much.
Thank you very much.
Where are you from?
I'm in Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
Will you be coming to Florida on this current tour?
I'm not sure yet. Maybe towards the end of it, Boko Raton. My godbrother Lakshmi Nishringa is there. How far is that from Orlando?
3 hours at least.
Okay. Well, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming.
I discovered listening to an interview that we have something in common. That we're both veterans of a Ted Patrick deprogramming.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe one time we'll have to catch up on that.
Yeah. I can still crack them up down at the Hare Krishna Center with my Ted Patrick impression.
Okay.
You're just a mindless robot, a zombie. They take away your ability to think, your free will, your manhood. All you can do is what your leader tells you to do. Sound familiar?
It does. How does it go? Let me see if I can do mine. What's it? Okay. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Good to
Thanks
meet
for
you.
coming on. Okay, Suryaradhika, nice to see you. I know you wrote me a letter. I'll answer it after this, okay?
Okay, thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Okay, but Jayanta told me with the immigration stuff, he doesn't think it's even going to pass any judges or anything. Well, I'll tell you about that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Timothy, we'll see you at the my retreat, I hope. Okay?
Yes, we'll be there. I look forward to it.
Okay.
Excited to see you then, Maharaj. Thank you for
Haribo.
class today.
Okay, Amala, nice to see you. Haribo. Okay, great. All right. Okay, I'm looking down the list. I see everybody else that came, and I'm very thankful for every single person that came. Thank you all. Okay. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripasya.
Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripasya.